recording is on. Let's begin. So we had, I was using previous day levels over here. We had this huge London swing. These are always interesting when they come down. So for London on Tuesday, I was looking for another sweep here to give us that zone to work with. But we didn't get it. There wasn't SMT here either. So this whole leg actually became our zone to work with. And that also then rolls into the next day. So we had Tuesday come up to that 1.5 SD2 here into our New York AM high. And we had our break here in that New York AM. In our quarter three, this is always a key time that we can look for those zones to be made. Around 9:30, starting the zone, coming up, and then we get our break here, retest, OTE of that zone. We have a 7-9 sweep there, and expansion out. Have a fib on that one. So this was finishing off that previous day. Coming down to just missed SD 1.5 there in the PM for the Q1. A specific indicator for the quarterly theory. So for using the 90-minute cycles down here, UMIBot created one that's in our indicator channel. I'll just grab it for you and drop the link. I think we pinned it. Just bear with me for a sec. I'll just pop that in the chat. Oh, sweet. Tony beat me to it. Thanks, man. So the idea is that we have, especially in New York, right? Once you're paying attention to those quarter threes, it happens a lot more in New York. So as we're going into there, expanding up, good time to look for that manipulation. I also have vertical lines here from that 9:30 to 10:30. This is a key high of day, low of the day time. So definitely an area worth watching on the chart. All right, so then we come into Asia starting the day. And we get our first manipulation of the day. So we draw out our PDH, PDL levels, which we have here. We have our standard deviation of that previous manipulation swing. And OTE levels we have over here drawn out. So before any of this price action is printed, we have these on the chart. And our fixed range volume profile, must have removed that. Let me pop that back on. From that PDL to PDH of the previous day. We have that main point of control up here, right at that PM high. This actually gave nice confluence for the Asia long, which I was targeting SD2 here in 1.5. So for bullish continuation day, especially when we've had a large expansion, we can look for prices to drop back into that previous daily range of that 0.25 normally, which allowed us to look for that zone in Asia around that 0.25. Originally, I was looking for the PM low here to get swept and then break, but we had our break here instead. So this became our zone for Asia in Q1. Asia loves to do this in Q1. And between 18 to 1900 here is also a low or high of the day time window. So keeping that in mind as this was playing out. So we got our swing high that made the low, and then we get our breakout here in the 1900 hour. We have displacement here. And we have the inverted SIBI, our IFVG here as well. So with the zone, guys, we're looking for PD arrays within the zone. We can then do OTE from the low here to that high. Which I've got over here. I'll just remove that one just so we can see it a little bit better. Yes, 1800 to 1900 low of the day, cozy special. Break out of the zone, back to OTE, 0.79, and expansion up straight to SD 1.5. For this trade, I was long from the BISI in here. Looking for a shallow retracement here to continuation up. Stop was below the low here, so a little bit of pressure and sweating here as we come back. My invalidation was 5-minute candle closes under the IBC, which didn't happen. Come back, and then right at 8 o'clock, we got the power out of there. And I was targeting previous session high plus the SD2 there. PM high. It's shot 3. And then we just had continuation from there onwards, right up to PDH. We get our PDH flip here into support. This was for quarter 4 of Asia. We can do another measurement from this swing as well. Just for that continuation there. For those that watched the lesson just on drawing out the boxes, we can keep doing that on the way up. Right, so as we're bullish, we want to keep drawing on the down swings that create each breakout. And you just want to stay bullish until they start getting swept. We got our retest of this one here to continuation there. London straight into manipulation for a quarter 2. So we have our retest of this zone here, expansion up into quarter 2, hitting SD 2.5, not quite 3.5 there. We have our BISI in here, which then gets inverted. Plus we have an SBS count we're watching. So we have our breakdown. I'll use this whole swing really. 1, 2, 3 sweeps 1, and then we're looking for the sweeps of 2 back into OTE. So we have our 4 here and our 5 sweeping 4. And we've got CE, our midpoint of that IBC there, holding up nicely. And then we finally get our breakdown after 6 o'clock. This was a little bit painful to sit through, but we had our key levels. We have this key zone, 50% of that zone, and then 50% of the IBC in there. Trade invalidation for the shorts would be 5-minute candle close above the IBC. Just like when we were in Asia, we're looking for that invalidation below here. And then OTE, not quite 7.9 soup there. Come back to the 7.05. Into our breakdown, back out of the zone, retest here. It's really nice. This is what I call the tweezer candles here. So a tweezer high here into the 7 o'clock macro. So 7 o'clock, we've got, if we look at where the open is at 7 o'clock, here, right? 7 o'clock candle has gone open high to then the low close. Just make that white. 0700 open. So we had a person was just asking in the chat before the stream, do we use the macros for the 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after? And my reply to that was I use the first 15 minutes of the hour, and within that first 15 minutes I'm looking for the open high. And if we get something like this is fantastic, right? We have that bearish OB just here. Tweezer high. We have our bearish engulfing here. That closes below the up close candle. This can also be an entry point. So we can, after this close, we can then enter here at the OB with stop above for invalidation here. For continuation down, and we're targeting, first target's that SD 1.5 here. First expansion leg from our London Q2 manipulation. As we get that swing, we can then do additional OTEs from here down to the low. We're mapping out the retracements. This is always good as well. So if we were in a position here, and if we didn't take profit at 1.5 and you're just watching price action, you're like, okay, so my stop's above here. You know, I'm expecting price to come back around that OTE. We hit that 6.2, we come down, we can break that, then you can step down your stop loss from there. This high then becomes protected once that low is taken. So good step down point there. And then huge sell-off here into New York Q2. Big leg. So straight to, normally we'll get that reaction around 2.5 and you can see another SBS form. You get like a redistribution phase in here. Sometimes even into 930, right? And when you get a 930 manipulation up, a new zone into continuation, and then that continuation will go down to that 4.5 level. But for this, we just had that full expansion straight down. Takes that 4.5. We have our previous session levels as well. So we've smashed through London low, Asia low, the main draw there of this 4.5 swing. Some nice alignment there. And something I've spoken about a few times. So when we're quite bearish, we can look for Asia low to get flipped and then act as resistance. And this is a really good example here, especially leading in at that key time at 9:30 in that the Q3 here of New York AM. You'll actually see this. I've created some daily profiles. I do have them in my mentorship channel, and I will go over them as well next week in my presentation next week. And we'll discuss that as well. So when super bearish and we're expanding down, we can look for those previous session levels to then get flipped. And same if we're going the other way, right? We would see, if we were super bearish, we would see Asia high act as a support level, and normally a zone is made there in London or in New York. So we come back down, we shoot up, we have an SBS in here, 1, 2, 3. Get our sweep here of 2. We can do another OTE from here as part of that SBS swing. We have a 7-9 sweep here, plus a swing failure pattern, for those that have studied the swing failure patterns. So we can then look for that low to get taken, and then the range low to get taken with the swing failure pattern. Our Q3 manipulation zone, we then do an OTE from here down to this swing low. Another SBS. 1, 2, 3, 4. We sweep 2. 5 is the lower high, and continue down to here for 6. Very nice price action through New York AM here. Hey BNB, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining in. Have you guys had a good New York session? Hey Seth. Very clean, man. This is very, very nice. Notice the gold line here is our VWAP too. So notice we're just, as we're trending, we're just staying well below that. Makes it easier to stay in short positions and just look for those spikes up. The SBSs, we get the raids of the highs. So we get our New York AM zone. We come back into the zone plus SBS, plus we've got our OTE, our 6.2 level. Expand down. This one was straight to 1.5 here. And then we get 2.5 into the PM. And straight down to 4.5 for that second leg. So 2 full deviation legs today. Hey Cypher, how you doing? Does everyone understand how we can enter and trade off the zones? Do you want me to look at that before I go into high time frame review? So basically we're looking at those PD arrays around those OTE levels to get into positions. And the FEGs are very good. IBC in here. So the New York one, this was all just a cluster in here. So we have a bit of barcoding going on. So we wait to come back in. We can look for that sweep of 2 and just enter at the zone plus that 0.62. Large stop though. Stop would have to be above the high. Could also enter here on that first retracement back to the zone. That would have given us that 1.5 target straight out of the bat. Nice, man. All right, let's take a look at some high time frame charts and then we'll start charting up the day and getting ready. So I'm just going to switch over to here. Let's get rid of the indicators. All right, we'll look at the 6 hour first. So 6 hour, we map out with our monthly. We're trying to work out what the monthly candle is doing. Put that on in the background so we can see as well. Let's have our monthly candle here. Just put that demonstration tool back on. So with the month, just like I was talking about with the 1 hour, right? We're looking for that first 15-minute high low normally in our 1 hours as they are playing out. We can do the same with the monthly, especially when you get clean months. You will tend to get, if we're bullish, we'll tend to get that low in the first quarter of the month. And if we're bearish, the high in the first quarter of the month. So February and March have been a bit tricky because we are in this big consolidation range, you know, whereas previously we were just kept heading up. It's like the last quarter of last year was very nice, mapping it out this way. So let's have a look. So we're March quarter 1. We've opened up, we put in a high here and then a low, and then we come out and take that low. So currently this is our monthly low still in quarter 1. And we can treat that as the monthly low until that gets taken. We then come back. We have an OTE retracement for quarter 2. It's another good example of like the tweezer low. In this case, the bullish candle didn't quite engulf there though. We want that body to close above here. So yeah, this low comes down, sweeps Feb low. We come back up. We've had an OTE retracement. And we're just bouncing off here now. We can do another OTE now from this low to the new high after the big sell-off. We're already come down to that 7.9. We've got the OBs here. We can take them off now though. So as these were playing out, the down close candles that caused the breakouts, we're looking for them to be respected as support. So this one here then aligned for continuation from midnight up, come back, retest, unable to close below, push up. Actually, like a swing failure pattern in here too, right? Swings that local low, closes back in the range. We can then target that candle high, and then the range high was here. And looks like we're currently putting one in now, swing failure pattern. So if we take that low, if this 6 hour then closes back in the range, we can look for a push back up. And invalidation of these candles, it's a bit interesting to see how this closes. So if this does close within this other candle body, we can look to use that wick. Invalidation is candle close below 50% of this wick here. So something to watch today as this is playing out. So at the moment, we're trying to work out if this low, Feb low, is still going to hold. If this stays as the low of the month, and then we start to just grind back up, you know, or maybe we just consolidate here and we finish the month as a doji, being like candle bodies around where the open is, and we just have the wicks on either side. If we take this low here from Q1, that will lock in this high. And look for then like a bearish retest of Feb low. Similar to what we were just looking at in the daily review with the Asia low. If we are super bearish, we'll come back, retest that, and come back down. Yeah, or we pivot up and just have consolidation here for Q4. It's going to be interesting. This was looking really bullish until the end of the day here. Was keen to see if it was going to come back up and then take out these highs and these highs. We need to be watching all of these liquidity points for later when price does switch bullish. Lots of levels now for good draws. All right, jumping to our 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart we're using aligned with the weekly. Weekly was looking very bullish. The body of the weekly was right up here when we looked at this yesterday. And now that's becoming the wick. So now that we've broken the zone here, you can get rid of this OTE. That's invalidated. We can now draw on a zone because we now have a plausible high of the week. Drag this across. So this is our Wednesday high zone. Guys, you had FOMC too, didn't you? I think that would have been 2 o'clock. That's that one there. Big sell-off from that POC there. This is actually a weekly POC from this swing. So from this high to this low, this is our main point of control here. So we've come back, retested that, and then just pushed down. Taken out our Monday low. And then we've got our Sunday low of the week here. You know, and this wick is really small. It's quite abnormal. So plausible we do come back and take that out. We are at 50% of this current zone at the moment to watch there. So for the weekly, if we just put our days on, this one, this one. So we started off with a Sunday low of the week, come back up, bullish Monday, come back to OTE to push up, and now we've got our break, new zone here. We can do a standard deviation now from here to that low. Get rid of that OTE so it's out of the way. So we come back to SD 1.5. And then we can mark out SD 2.5 and we'll do 3.5 as well here. Be interesting to see how this week finishes. Now that we've hit 1.5, we can expect a reaccumulation. That's probably what's going to happen now. Ideally, that goes into a SBS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come down to 3. So whether we have our midnight open or a true day open level up here somewhere, we can look for manipulation above that. Even back into the pocket would be interesting if we can do that into continuation down. And then we can use, whether this happens in London, we can then use the standard deviation pool of that on the lower time frame to then continue down to wherever the low is over here, and ideally down to that SD 2.5. And then we can end up getting a proper low wick to finish off the week. All right, let's jump into our daily chart setup. Any questions on the 1 hour chart? Had our clean low here, SD 1.5, reaccumulation, push to SD 2.5 into our break. All right, let's get a fresh chart. Clear this one. So starting the day, we want our PDH level, PDL. We can drag these right over to 1800. PDL coming in at 1625. We've got that sweep at 1830. We're then drawing on our OTE of the daily range, PDH to PDL. And adding in our 0.25, if we're super bearish, that will be all that price will get to. Let's make that a bit brighter. We want our previous day's zones, and we'll do our fixed range volume profile first. Let's find out where our POC is from that previous day range. So we're going from the high down to PDL, and we've got it right in the middle. And we had our main zone up here for London. And this one for New York, from the low to the high. So the low that made the high. And what do we got at the moment? So we had this swing here. We come back up. Only just sweeps PDL. We can draw that on at the moment for our current low zone. Add the quarters back on. And want to mark out our PM levels. So we had our PM low was here. And PM high up here around that POC. Turn off that indicator. All right, we're going to break down the chart now into 3-hour blocks, and I'm going to start with the 12 hours. I'm going to do them a little bit thicker now. This is something else I've incorporated into the chart setup just to help having the 12 hours a bit more prominent. And we're looking for those apex signatures, the manipulation signature within the 12 hour, to then be able to catch 3 to 6 hours of that 12 hour. So for that, we just want 1800, 600, and end of day. Hey Marius, how you going? Thanks for tuning in. And we'll make these ones less prominent. So we're putting these in at 3 hours. 2100 midnight, 3 o'clock. And 1500. So the reason we're doing the 3 hours, we're looking to see if we're going to get 3-hour trend, if we're going to get a 3-hour manipulation into a 3-hour trend, or if we're going to get a 3-hour consolidation. We can then look within each 3-hour block to mark out what price is doing there. So for Cozy, we want 3-hour trend here, another 3-hour trend into London, consolidation, 3-hour apex, and down to PDO. Or just a continuation up. So while this is playing out, we can do standard deviation on this. So this low remains the low until that's taken. This zone is only invalidated once that low is taken. Yeah, ideally, Cozy, if we can get past that 2.5 and get back up to this POC, take out PM high, back into that AM zone, and then target PDL, that'd be pretty nice. Yeah. All right, we'll put on the standard deviation levels, so 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5. So if we do get up to that 1.5, we can look for an SBS to come in, or a re-accumulation to then push to that next level. PM high, PM low, sorry. PM low, where it's currently rejecting. Would like to see that for bullish continuation. That needs to get flipped for support. And not just come back down. All right, let's look at our 12-hour levels. So using C's here. Set that to 12-hour. Set this to internal ranges. It's already swept, so this will be external range, and then internal range will be up here within the previous. So we've got our mode here, right at that FRVP POC. Our median on the 12 hour is here, up at SD4, 4.5. External mode down here. And external median down here. Internal median mode's been invalidated. Once we sweep the low, we then get the external range data. So meaning if we're going to have a bullish retracement continuation, we're hitting that median on the 12 hour 50% of the time. Not many PD arrays within this zone. We have the BISI here. Did anyone take that? Being respected nicely. So the trade ideas would be, while that low holds, longs out of the array within the zone, stop below the zone, and targeting each SD level. Ideally, we do this on separate accounts so we can get rid of one account. Full TP at 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5 if it's going to be huge. $573. One min OB and BISI. Is that from here? One min swing here. Even this whole swing getting in. I've got my chart on the other contract. I'm like, why is it not 578? It's a problem with switching between so many charts with different templates on each chart and contract change. That makes more sense. 578 from here. Yeah, so after that 1 minute BISI. Very nice. All right, guys. So that concludes that daily review, high time frame analysis. We've got our daily chart set up. Interesting to see how this 3 hour finishes off. We do still need to watch just for an apex here up to that 0.25. If we so if we get a zone up here and breaks down, can look for a continuation down. But ideally, the best play is for it to come back up, create all this internal liquidity, get a manipulation up here, and then we can do our standard deviation from up here somewhere, and we can align these with all of the lows that are made on the way up. All right, any questions? Done it right for time. Kept it within an hour. Thanks, Cozy. Appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll end the stream there and yeah, talk to everyone in the chat.